Hello everyone and welcome back to day 17 of our F125 Hotlap and Setup series. Yesterday we return to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, of course out in the Baku city, one of the toughest circuits on the F1 calendar. Trying to get a lap hooked up around here is really difficult. There's so many different sections, so much complexity and so much precision around this place that one small mistake can leave your race absolutely ruined. It's why the first few Grand Prix here were absolutely crazy a few years ago as well. And to be fair, most Grand Prix actually in Baku have had some pretty memorable moments. Of course, if you're new to this series though and don't know what this is, we basically go through each and every day. I provide you guys with a track guide around all of the circuits inside F125 to try and help you learn no line or other braking references and kind of how to figure out a track. And then I also provide you with a race setup ready to go inside the game and a hot lap at the end of the video. Now, Baku, there is definitely a lot more time in this circuit, but the difference between time trial and racing is so different here. In time trial, you can slap the walls on corner exit and things like that, which is an absolute no-no in Grand Prix. So, yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, of course, when we head into the hot lap. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 15k subs here on the channel at the moment. We're nearly at the end of our initial setup series inside this game. But I've been reading your comments. I want to do some wet setups. I want to do some Formula 2 setups as well. So yeah, we're certainly going to have a lot more inside this title. So hopefully it's going to continue to be a useful free tool for you all to use as well. As always, timestamps will be linked down below. And let's head out onto the circuit. We're making our way then up towards the start-finish line here in Baku. You want to bring the car over to the right-hand side. Of course, you're going to be doing speeds of about 210 miles an hour on the way down towards turn 1. Now, in qualifying trim, or in practice trim, the shadow at the end of the kind of grandstand there is actually the perfect reference point ready for turn 1, but do not rely on it. If you go into a Grand Prix, if it's a bit overcast or anything else, that shadow's going to completely move. It's the #1 tip of learning no line on an F1 game or for racing drivers in general. Never rely on shadows because they have a tendency to move with the sun. So for turn 1, you want to be braking about 120 meters out. You can use that lamp post on the outside as a bit of a reference point there, braking just before that. Bring the car down from 8th gear. I like to go down to 3rd. Now, you can get the car wedged over this first curb, but only just. You want to make sure that outside tyre is still making contact with the curb. That just lifts the car up a little bit. Otherwise, if you position it a lot further out, you'll just bottom out and go straight on in towards that first corner. You want to be turning in just as you get to the 50-meter board. So, like I said, 3rd gear on the way through, but be very careful on the exit at turn 1 as well. They added that wall in recent years, and it will really catch you out if you get it wrong. So, try to just lean up on the curb slightly, short shift up through 4th gear, and then get the power down through 5th and 6th. For turn 2, you want to brake just after the black box at this little hole in the wall. Just as this Qatar Airways banner comes back to the white line, you want to get on the anchors once again. From 6th gear all the way down to 3rd. Now, this curb through turn 2, you can really actually attack, so try to get nicely over that. Get the car nice and straight on the exit, short shift to 4th, and once again, we are opening up the DRS. Bring the car slowly away from the wall, just to give yourself a slightly shorter run down in towards turn 3. I like to bring it about halfway over, but then keep the car in a straight line as we head down in towards this 3rd corner. Easily one of the most tricky ones now on the lap. The braking point has actually moved slightly backwards this year, so slightly further away from the apex of the corner. It used to be the 100-meter board as the reference. I like to brake now just as I go past this little line kind of in the wall. Just because you can brake slightly later than that. In qualifying trim, you can brake at like 105 meters. But the 100-meter board is probably a little bit too late, and you've got to be very careful. Once again, turn the car in just as you get to this curbing. You want to go from 8th gear all the way down to 3rd into here. Try and get as close to that inside wall as you can. Allow the car to run nice and wide on the exit. Get on the throttle as early as you can as well. It is all about trying to be smooth with your throttle application. Bring the car back over to the left-hand side, braking at about 65 meters out. Ready for turn 4. Again, down to 2nd gear this time round as you try and get on the throttle. Avoid that curb on the inside. It will absolutely punish you. Straighten up the car, but aim for the outside wall once again. You want to be aiming just for those Pirelli signs, and in towards turn 5 then. Get the car nice and straight, brake just before the 50, and you want to bring the car down to 3rd gear on the entry, but all the way down to 2nd as you make your way through the apex. Hug the left-hand side for as long as you can. Again, avoid the inside curb and try to get on the loud pedal as early as possible off the exit. You can short shift back to 3rd if you're struggling to get the power down. Again, leaving the car over on the left-hand side of the circuit. Brake just as you go past the 50-meter board. This corner, the curb is basically flat. You can actually take a lot of it inside F125. You'll notice on my hot lap, and even there, we're able to get all 4 wheels onto that curbing, so we'll really give you a lot of opportunity there. Get the throttle down on the exit, and now we head into the tightest corner in all of Formula 1. 4th gear on entry. In race trim, I would downshift to 3rd, just to make sure you get the bite from the front end. Brake at the 50-meter board, though, it is only a very, very quick stab of the brake. Try and obviously then get the car chucked up through. Bring it over to the left-hand side, down to 2nd. Try to go for a nice late apex through here, because it will open up the run through this next corner. I like to short shift back up to 3rd, attack the curbing on the inside, and get on the throttle as early as you possibly can as we now make our way in towards the old town. Cycling back up through the gears once again then. Of course, these next couple of corners, not really corners in a Formula 1 car. You're going to be all the way up in 7th though, as this is, again, one of the most difficult braking points in all of Formula 1. I like to use the 100-meter board as a reference. Try to get the car nice and straight. You want to use all of the available runoff area on the entry of the corner. Bring the car down to 2nd. Avoid the curb on the inside as best as you can. And then get on the throttle as soon as you go over the bump to maximise the corner exit. Down the hill, you're going to be up in 6th gear once again. Braking at the 100-meter board. You want to bring it all the way back down to 3rd. Again, avoid the inside curb as best as you can. Get on the throttle nice and early. You can use this exit curb to just try and balance out the car again. And then it is going to be flat out all the way back to the line. In intermediate or wet conditions, you might have to blend slightly through these final couple of turns. But especially, yeah, these high downforce F1 cars, this place is an absolute just high commitment, like I said, venue. A very long run back to the start-finish line, though, as we're all aware. You just slowly watch the clock tick by, and hopefully you've nailed your lap so that the delta is still climbing. But there we go. That's going to be a lap of the Baku City circuit. At this place, I know I say it a lot inside this game, but practice, practice, practice is so important. You will find that as confidence builds, you will get quicker and quicker here. So it is really a track that if you can go into a qualifying session full of confidence in the car, you know where you need to brake and everything else, you are going to make up a lot of time. But without further ado, let's head back to pit lane and I'll talk you guys through the setup. Well, taking a look then at the overall leaderboard, as you can see, about 2 seconds away actually around this circuit, but there's about a second in this lap if you really want to start using some of the cheese strats. Again, you can tell it's a bit of a weird one based on the fact that you can't see really any F1 Esports drivers up towards the top of the order there. But having a look then at the setup, 1411 wing, of course, that huge front straight. Sector 1 is basically all straights as well. This is a very, very low downforce circuit. That's what makes it such a challenge through the low speed corners, is of course you haven't got downforce trying to keep the car stuck into the road. So it is all about trying to carry that speed down the straights. You can up this to like 16, 13 wing if you're really struggling, but I wouldn't go any higher than that. Otherwise you are going to be in a world of hurt as you head into a race. 85, 35 for your diff on and off throttle. Again, like most circuits on this game, this place is quite a lot of traction zones, but a lot of them are quite straight line traction zones, so you can run the on-throttle diff ever so slightly unlocked, and then again the off-throttle diff, really that's for that kind of last corner of Sector 2 down the hill and into the left-hander. Otherwise it can be really, really tricky to try and get the car rotated in. Minus 3.4, minus 1.9, 0.02, 0.13 for your camber and toe angles. Tyre wear is non-existent here. It's the easiest one-stop, I think, inside the entire game. So, yeah, you can afford to run this a little bit more extreme if you want to. But again, I just prefer having a tiny bit of extra stability. It also helps look after the tyre temperature, which if you find that your wheel's spinning a lot off corner exit, can make a huge difference as well. 39.9 for your front and rear suspension. Fairly standard stuff. 10.13 for your anti-roll bars, and then 24.50 for your ride height. Again, I've seen people running a lot lower ride height in their setups here, but it will make the car very unstable over the curbs, and especially if you accidentally like clip the edge of a curb and things like that, it can really give you a lot of pain very, very quickly. And ultimately, the 2450 will kind of give you enough straight line speed still down the back straight. 54.98 brake pressure and bias, absolutely normal for me on this game. And then 28.9 front pressures, 21.8 on the rear. Like I said, you don't have to run these maxed out or anything like that around this circuit. Tyre wear is fairly forgiving, actually. You can easily take a set of hard tyres throughout an entire race distance if you needed to here, with a little bit of management as well. But hopefully this setup helps you out. If it does, please do make sure you drop a like, drop a sub, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow ready in Singapore.